seeking you. That's what it says. What you are seeking is.
Can y'all see me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes.
Can you take that line again? What you're seeking is also seeking you.
So what you are seeking is also seeking you. Because it's amazing if we can just understand 1% of how powerful our mind is, we'll be shocked what we can accomplish on earth. That's why God blesses our mind. That's why he said, be fruitful, multiply, increase. And like, Jonathan said, you've been blessed already. But the power of the subconscious mind, it makes you activate things from within you, that things you never thought were there. But the minute you start to tap into your subconscious, you'll be amazed. It makes you become cautious. People are always cautious about their health, but people are not conscious about their mind. You are conscious, but people want to go and diet. What's your New Year resolution? I want to lose weight. I want to do this. I want to do this. Every single thing you want to do on this everything you want to do on this life starts from your mind. If you can master that, that's why some of the most successful people on this earth, they've mastered their subconscious mind. Once you can master that, you can do so many things. So what you are seeking is already seeking you.
Brilliant. So Giles Rose, your turn.
Love that, man. I'll just go with, I've read so many books, I'm trying to think of which has been the most powerful one, but I'll just go with the one that's at the tip of the mind right now, because it's what I'm reading right now. And it is How to Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. So this is a book around mastering your productivity and also recognizing that there's so many levels to your productivity as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and being able to, like, I'm a master delegator as it is, but this book is putting it in a really tactical way, step-by-step process to make that process even more efficient in terms of delegating, moving towards expanding your company or companies in a way which is really efficient, really productive, and in a way which empowers you to bless other people who also lead.
This is very powerful. This is so good.
For me, I would say that because I'm reading 3 books at the moment, not to sound like an overachiever, but I tend to read like multiple books at the same time.
I like that.
So the first is $100 Million Offers and Leads by Alex Hormozy. Amazing book.
That's a good book.
I'm reading Relentless by Tim Grover. Fantastic book.
See, right, that's like the second time you're reading that book, man.
It's more like I've lost count. I read it almost every week. So it's that good. Because we share a lot in common, and I think the third book I'm reading is Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley.
Yes.
So for me, just piggybacking off everything some of the people, we've all said about the subconscious mind, because I'm into marketing and coaching, for me, the most important thing also is how to get into the mind of my customers. How do you make them offers that they can't say no to? How do you bypass their emotional resistance and turn on the emotional triggers that make them buy? How do you use suggestion? How do you become better at serving them? Because all of us here have great things that we're doing, but if you don't have a hungry buying market that truly want what we offer, we'll just be a bunch of talking heads. So for me, those are the 3 amazing books I'm reading right now.
Oh, fantastic. Any podcast?
Paul, can I add one more?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I just wanted to say about this one, Rocket Fuel. Big key as a visionary. Like, just talks it basically is like this is just saying the difference between the visionary and the integrator, all of this. So basically, are you a visionary or are you an integrator? Which one are you? You need to find the opposite. And I've realized I'm very much a visionary, and I'm expecting integrators, or I'm expecting other visionaries in my company that I've hired to act as operators or integrators when they are not that. So that's been one of the biggest things that I've realized from this book as well. So that's one more that I give to people. It's called Rocket Fuel.
That's a good one. And Apple Podcast just released their #1 podcast in the world for 2023, and it's the Huberman Lab, Andrew Huberman podcast.
Right. Yeah,
he has a great team. He has a great podcast. So I really give it to him. Diary of the CEO. Great one. Monzo Bank, the founder of Sterling Bank. So Monzo Bank broke out of Sterling Bank. So it was a fight. The internet was a battle. So it's something I want to recommend for people to check. I don't know whether some of you do this. Whether you do this, you have like a music playlist. You also have like a podcast playlist. Some podcasts you don't want to so they can go back to them over and over and over and over again. So I don't know if anybody has a favorite podcast that you just visit again to get you. Sometimes you can just get lazy. You can just relax. What's that podcast you go back to? Mine is this Jacko Willink. There's one Jacko Willink talk that, man, it messes you up, man. If you don't want to work out, if you listen to that dude, you're just gonna get up and just do something. So it's a podcast for anybody here that you listen to and you really enjoyed in 2023.
Well, there's for me, I think what I do involves a lot of communication, and I'm always happy to sharpen any skill that I'm developing. And I think communication is a very big skill that we can always improve on. So I started listening to a podcast. It's called Think Fast, Talk Smart. I can't remember his name now, but it's called Think Fast, Talk Smart. And it's such it's such an amazing podcast where this guy brings the top communicators in the world to pick their brain, and they share tips. My God. And like Jonathan said earlier on, I read something in the Bible and I just put into action. He would just share things and I'll just put into action. Think fast, talk smart, and then us just started seeing changes. So the way I was communicating with some of my clients, all of a sudden I noticed I wasn't selling, but I was selling. And that was it.
Now your clients know the secret, man.
The
secret is out of the box now, man.
Because all of a sudden, because you're thinking smart, you're talking smart, you're thinking fast and you're talking smart, all of a sudden, it's like they buy into you. And what then happens is you end up talking less because you listen more and you talk less. All of a sudden, they say, I've had clients saying, you're the guy. And what got to me was when a client from a podcast, they listened to me in a podcast and they said to me, and it was just crazy. They said to me, you messed up my head. I couldn't get you out of my head. So I needed to work with you.
Wow.
And so it's a great podcast. It's called Think Fast, Talk Smart. Brilliant podcast.
Oh, Talk Smart.
Very, very good. Very good. Any other person?
Oh, I'd say, I'll be honest, it's my podcast, Purpose Led. I listen to it.
I like this guy.
I have to review it when my creative director finishes it. I have to review it before it goes out anyway. But that's the one I listen to mostly, primarily because I've been thinking recently that a lot of this overconsumption of digital media that we are getting ourselves into is a form of sedation. So a lot of the time we listen to so much. And I'm not getting at anybody who listens to a lot of podcasts. I love podcasts, but I've been taking in so much information. Now it's just time to apply and to have some actual time to think. And when you actually have time to think, you're able to come and implement as well. When you have that time to think and to implement and to actually go over that iteration yourself, you start to come up with even newer ideas that Hormozy can't come up with, that I can't come up with, that Jazz can't come up with, that Paul can't come up with, that Moses can't come up with, that Steve can't come up with. You'll be able to create your own ideas. And that's why I've started to come up with my own ideas. I've done that before, but then now I have even more space to think. But yeah, I'd say Purpose Led because that's the one I kind of have to listen to. It's my podcast. But yeah, that's what I'd say.
I like that. That's very good. Very, very good. Very good. What about you, Jazz?
Podcast wise, what am I listening to?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
we can.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so a couple of podcasts that I tap into would be one from Rob Moore, Disruptors. Just really like the way he's aggressive with his points of view.
Very, very good. Very good. Yeah, very good. I had him on the show. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Expert Empires is one that I listen to quite a lot as well. Similar industry to me. So stuff like that really resonates in terms of empire building, attracting the right clients, etc. And then retaining those clients as well. So really powerful tips and insights on there as well.
Fantastic. How do you consume? Because of a lot of the things that we create flows downstream from how we consume. All right. So anyone want to share with us how they consume? And you were talking about creativity now, Jonathan. How do you consume, and how does that affect your, some sort of like your sort of creativity? You have like a journal with you, you sketch it, you draw it. Because I want an entrepreneur listening to us right now saying to themselves, how do I get an idea for my strategy for 2020, 2024? So how do you consume? Because your consumption helps you in your creation, and then it helps produce results. Yeah.
Absolutely. The way that I consume, I first go by the principle of you turn into what you tune into. I say this all the time because you really and truly.
Yeah, you said that when I first interviewed you, man. You're consistent with that line. I like that. I like that. You said that the first time I interviewed you. Yeah,
exactly. I think it's super important.
Yeah.
Turn into what you tune into. So first and foremost, make sure that you know what you're taking in is going to be positive, and it's going to benefit you, and it's going to add to life, not take away from it, not take away from the precious seconds that you have, and minutes that you have, hours that you have, days that you have. So that's the first thing I think when it comes to content. And then when I take in content, I am usually writing notes. I literally just write notes. I have a Notion doc, or like a Notion page where I have like these different videos that I listen to or watch, or these podcasts that I watch. Because a lot of the time things can go in one ear, out the other. But I prefer for it to go in one ear, stay there, and then go out the other if it needs to, the stuff that I don't need.
Yes.
But yeah, I usually write it down.
Oh, very, very good. Right. So I like that point. You consume, you take some part of it, you drop it on your Notion doc, and then you can use that to create whatever it is that you want to create. Because like King Solomon said, nothing is new under the sun. I always tell people all the time that there are no new messages, there are only new messengers.
Right.
Really, there are no new messages. There are only new messengers. There's nothing anybody doing in this world that is new. It's just that you put a spin to it of your creativity, your innovation. So I like that. You tune into. So what's the line again? I like that. That's very tweetable. I'm
you turn into what you
tune into. What you
turn into
what you tune into. That's powerful. Fantastic. What about you, Jazz? So Jazz, Bright, Steve.
Yeah, man.
How do you consume?
I like
and then create.
So two things. I like to listen to audiobooks when I'm traveling, or educational YouTube channels while I'm traveling, driving, whether I'm on the tube or what have you. And the second thing, I like to read physical books, because then you get to be more tactile with it and kind of go back and forth with stuff. It kind of like deepens the learning. So the way that I read, and I don't know if anybody else does this or something similar, but I summarize the book at the back of the book. So there's always empty pages at the back of the book. Anything that is I'm going to act on, I write it down, I page number it. So that was page 60. And then when I want to review any book, whether it's oversubscribed or 100 million offers, I go, what was that principle again? Okay, bang, there it is. That's the page. And then I go and reference that. And then usually I take that and then I put it down in my Remarkable pad. And if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a Remarkable pad, this is a notepad for life. And I recommend that every entrepreneur or ambitious professional gets one, because it just stops you having pieces of paper all around the place that are scattered, but it actually gets you to organize your life. And the third thing that I would say about consumption and the way that I consume is that every single night, or at least 5 days a week, I would write down, what am I most proud of today? And what have I learned today? So again, as Jonathan said, it's in that knowledge and it's dipping into your subconscious rather than it kind of going in one out, one in ear and out the other. You're actually retaining much more of that information simply by the process of having written it down before you go to sleep.
Wow, I like that. That's so powerful. So the questions just give your subconscious mind tools to work with. Wow. So powerful. So powerful.
Yeah.
How about you, Moses Bright?
So for me, I have a good friend called Google Docs. Me too. I have a good friend called Google Docs. So it's all organized. So I have I've got folders. I've got idea folders.
Come on, brother.
Folders. I've got book review folders.
Whoa.
So literally, I've just got folders on here, so I know. So the way I consume is on my YouTube. I've got a playlist. So I've got spiritual growth on my playlist.
Come on.
I've got, health, literally health improvement on my playlist. And I've got gold books. It's called gold books. Gold. These are books that I know if you're in that playlist, boy, it's serious. Then I've got literally, and I've been doing this for years. So if I want to go into my mind, if I want to really work on my mind, I know where to go to. So I know these are things that will help my mindset. So I've got this on my play. I've got playlists on my YouTube. I've got my docs on my bookmarks. I've got folders on my bookmarks. What do I need? I don't look for things.
Wow.
So I just go there. So what I do is every day I challenge myself to become better than yesterday. Every day, because yesterday is the old me, and today's the new me. So every single day I'm challenging myself. Moses, what are you doing today that will make you better than yesterday? And that's just something I set personally for myself, and then I work on it. And then literally as my car is a library. So if I'm driving, anywhere, and I drive quite a lot because what I do, so I'm consuming books like I'm crazy. So I'm listening to, and I must listen to something that will benefit me, and also something that I can send to someone else that will benefit them. So when I read a book, I read a book recently in about, I think 5 days, Bamboozled by Jesus, by a lady, she's a comedian. Her name just keep my head now. Just literally, and fantastic book. But literally, it goes into a play. And I'm part of a book club. I'm also part of a book club. So there's a lot. There's just literally, but it's about being organized. So what I do when you read, like Jazro does, when I read after the chapter, I summarize that chapter, and I take, even though some of them are summarized, I take key points. What have I actually learned myself from this chapter? And then I write it down and I go practice it. So that's literally how I consume. I take everything and I organize it, and I know that I can go back. And from time to time, I just review them from time to time. But it's all organized.
That's so powerful. So powerful. What about you, Steve?
Well, for me, I tend to take learning as an investment. So, yes, I do listen to podcasts and YouTube playlists and the whole 9 yards, but I'm also very, very practical. So one part of me always says that if I'm investing, for example, in knowledge, and maybe in a course or in a book, I set a goal to see how I can make 10 times my investment in whatever it is I'm buying. So if I'm paying for a program, I'm asking myself, how do I make 10 times the value of whatever I invested in it? So I'm usually very practical. So if I'm reading, so what I tend to do is if I'm reading a book, so let's say Hormozi's $100 million offers or leads, for every chapter, I'm going to do something. So I don't proceed to the next chapter until I've done something with the last chapter. So if I'm reading and he's talking about something, I go practice it and see how I can make money from that chapter before it allows me the psychological permission to read the next chapter. Because I think a lot of people are so caught up in gathering knowledge, but true wisdom is the application of knowledge.
That's right.
So a lot of people have information, but they don't have wisdom because they can't apply that information. So I'm very, very particular about whatever I read. If it's self-development, business development, I read in terms of chapters. So I read the chapter and then see how I can execute on something that can make me money before I move to the next chapter. So that's what I tend to do.
This is beautiful. Pure wisdom, man. Pure wisdom. All right, so we're going to wrap on you, and you guys are super busy, man. How do you handle challenges and setbacks? I lost my mother I buried my mother this year.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she died early part of this year. I flew into Nigeria, did the funeral, and I'm back to the UK. So I've dealt with that level of loss. But how do you, in business, how do you handle challenge? Because people are listening to us, they know that sometimes we have setback. How do you get yourself back? Jazz Rose, I saw you I saw you entering a ice bath, man. I took a cold bath this evening in preparation for this class. I'm like, just rose of cold. Jeez.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
So that was how I was fighting myself. But you know what? I tell you what, it makes you feel really good, you know?
It does.
The cold, it just shocks your nervous system, man. You just come out alive.
Yeah.
You know, so when my children hear me screaming, oh, no, they know the cold water is on me right now. All right. So how do you handle a client that was supposed to sign up for your product or service? They change their mind, something happened. What kind of conversation do you have with yourself? Because someone is watching us right now and say, you know what, I've lost a client, man. I want to hear how you guys handle that.
Challenges are the birth of creativity, aren't they?
Yes.
So it's about how you perceive that challenge, and you ask yourself, what lesson can I learn from this particular challenge?
Yes.
And then second, what systems, processes can I put into place so that this type of challenge doesn't reoccur
itself? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And once you can do that, that means that you know, okay, this is fun. This is a challenge. How do I overcome that? How do I make sure I put it in place that it never happens again? And then you notice that your challenges only get bigger and your success only becomes bigger because now you're looking at things from a higher plane because you've already gone through those earlier challenges. And that means that you're always leveling up, which means that you're facing bigger challenges, which then allow you to be more creative, which then allow you to get better results in the long run.
Great. Fantastic. Another person, how do you handle challenges? Somebody once said that there are no failures, there's only feedback.
Yeah, you literally took the words out of my mouth because I was saving that. That was my punchline, bro. So, but yeah, failure really is feedback. Failure really is feedback, and you know they say the customer's always right. So when I don't close a deal, for example, I take that as feedback and I ask myself certain questions. So if a customer doesn't buy, they usually don't buy for certain reasons. Number one, they can't afford it. Number two, your proposition isn't urgent or important to them. Or number three, they don't consider you as the authority that they don't trust you enough as the authority. So when a sale doesn't go through, I run myself through one of those three. So first off, is that they can't afford it. If they can't afford it, I'm not likely to offer them discounts or stuff because my positioning is premium. So I'm not going to do that. Number two, is it that it's not urgent and important to them? So the question then is, how do I make whatever I'm offering to them urgent and important to them right now? And then number three is my positioning such that they consider me as the trusted authority that they buy from? So if they don't buy, it's one of those three, and I'm humble enough to take the feedback to say, okay, maybe we need to work on this a little bit better. Maybe we need to dial back on this a little bit more, and so on and so forth. But for me, again, the ugly truth is recognizing that you're not sent to everyone. Everyone is not your customer. Jesus says, my sheep know my voice, and the voice of a stranger they will not obey. And I tend to reposition that, and I say, your sheep or your customers know your voice. Your voice is your marketing message. It's your brand positioning. And the voice of a competitor, they will not obey. So it's first off about your marketing message. It's then about your brand positioning. It's then about the frequency of how often you put your messaging out there, such that when your competitors show up, they trust you enough to not go with them. So for me, that's what I tend to do.
Wow, this is beautiful. Moses Bright.
Yes, sir.
How do you handle challenges in your real estate business? Yeah.
The first thing that comes to my mind is, which is what I do all the time and I practice it, is an abundance mindset. And the reason why I'm starting with an abundance mindset is because, one, I know there are challenges. And because I know there are challenges, my mind is already literally trained to know that if there's a challenge, there's a solution. So sometimes if I'm working with a client, I'm always thinking ahead of the client. So before I start working with them, I'm thinking, sometimes I ask myself questions that the client will ask me. So I prep myself. And so give it a good example. I had a challenge recently, just a couple of days ago, just before I closed up for business. where literally this is the third property I got a client. But the first one, fell through for one sole reason. Rather than thinking, why did this happen? I knew why it happened. I was really thinking ahead, and I got another one. And then as soon as I noticed there could be an issue here, I went one step at a time. On my wife's birthday, I was like, you know what? Got another one. So literally with one client, it took me 3 properties, just recently, just 3 properties in this year to, so for me, it's an abundance mindset. I learn from it. I know, and I literally use it to shape up my business and my team, and then we document it. So sometimes, so now I'm going to start recording it. So when a new team joins, when a new member joins the team, it's like, okay, cool. Go watch some challenge videos. And I think sometimes we don't get that business. This is just videos of challenges. So go watch them and prep yourself. So, but I would say having an abundant mindset for me is what literally does it for me, because it just means that if there's a challenge, there is abundant solution out there. And that's how I keep it simple. So when I'm faced with one, I don't think too much about it. I just think, okay, let's solve this problem. We go back, we revisit it, we summarize it, we understand, okay, this is what happened, how can we make it better? And then we move on, but we don't dwell on it.
Yeah. And just to add to
so
what you guys have said as well.
Very powerful framework, yeah.
Yeah, just add to what you guys have said as well. I'd say that, what was I going to say? Oh, it's gone from me now. I was going to talk about, things are happening for you, not to you. Similar to what guys and Steve were just talking about. Literally everything that is happening to you is happening for a reason. That's one thing that I believe. Even in the Bible, it does say that as well. I think all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord, something like that.
Yeah.
But literally things are happening for you and not to you. If you look back at every situation where you faced a challenge, you've had to create, like Jazz said, a system, or you had to create some sort of a process. You had to hire someone new. You realize that guy was bad, so you have to hire a different person. Maybe hire a lady for that position.
Yes.
He's not fit for the guys. Something like that. I don't know. But you have to figure out a way around it, and life will always throw these tests at you, and then it's up to you to decide, right, cool, it's time to pass this test. I want to just keep throwing that test at you every single time, until you decide it's time to actually come to overcome it. But yeah, that's what I'd say. Things are happening for you and not to you.
Wow, this is so powerful, guys. This is so powerful. In tying off with the challenge, I love what Charlie Munger, he gave us a mental model for challenge. I love, he said that he calls it thinking in inversion thinking. Said instead of you to say, how can I have a great marriage, he said you should ask yourself a question: what are the top 10 things that can destroy this marriage, and do the opposite of them.
Right.
It's a good way of thinking.
He says, don't say, how can I get a great client? What are the top things that will make my client go crazy? Just do the opposite of them. Wow, guys, I just want to say thank you all for coming for this great, heartwarming conversation. I hope it was nourishing to you. I hope you learned something. I mean, you made new friends today, Steve Harris. You've all met today, and then I'm trusting God that you guys will collaborate to do things together. I'll be happy to see both of you guys jumping on each other's podcast and doing some stuff together. That would be a thing of joy. Thank you all for coming. God bless you. Keep winning, keep empowering, and keep inspiring the world. I'm going to stop recording now. We can just chat for a second, and before everybody goes, I'm going to put all of your links in the show notes so that anybody. So, quickly, if somebody wants to get more of your wisdom, Jonathan, where should we direct them to?
LinkedIn probably is the best place. So that's Jonathan Reid, JonathanReid, and the business is Reidentify, REID, Entify. I'm trying to spell that one out for you guys.
All right, good. Jazz, where should we direct people to?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Mr. Jazz Rose, or on YouTube at Mr. Jazz Rose as well.
Fantastic. Moses Bright, where should we direct people to?
Yep. So you can find me on Instagram, company's Announce Property, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Moses Bright. So Announce Property on Instagram, and on LinkedIn, Moses Bright.
All right, Steve Harris, where should we direct people to if they want to get more of your wisdom?
Instagram, I am Steve Harris. or my website, iamsteveharris.com. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you guys for coming. Let's stop the recording now.